KZOZ-FM San Luis Obispo rocks the Central Coast.
All right, Jeff and Jeremy here. Good morning. It is 5 minutes after 8 o'clock online at KZOZ.com. Some text coming in off the KZOZ James McKiernan poll question this morning, and that is which smells worse, an alcoholic or a pothead? It's 50-50 right now on the poll at KZOZ.com.
This is scientific stuff, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah,
very scientific.
So
Kyle,
apparently, let's see. Yeah, it's still 50-50, so you can vote right now if you haven't voted yet so far. A lot of people writing in. Let's see. Amy writes in. She says, pothead hippies, patchouli weirdos. I don't know what that is. Anyways, but they're all stinky. They're all stinky people. Kyle says alcoholics smell worse. Mike says they both smell bad. The thing is, I guess I don't hang around very many alcoholics, because if I did, maybe this would be an easier.
I know what it is. Go ahead, though. Go ahead.
I mean, when people have marijuana in their pockets, you can smell it. And Pro Weed Smoker writes in, and he tries. He says, you know what? I'm a pothead. I stink like pot all the time. When I go to work, I put a dryer sheet in my pocket. See, there you go. There's some ingenuity right there.
A for effort.
I mean, hey, give it a shot. I remember I had a pothead friend in my 20s. We were both in our early 20s. He still lived at his parents' house. He lived up like in an attic.
Surprise.
In the attic. So he would take a paper towel roll and put a dryer sheet at the end of it and put a rubber band around it and then blow the smoke through that, thinking that was, now it just smelled like bounce weed, to me anyways. He says that he also uses freshly roll-on deodorant. And he sprays himself with Febreze. Hey, Jeff used to put Febreze in his hair back in college.
The reason why I would do it was because one, I had long hair. And I also have fine hair. So if I have fine hair and long hair, if I took showers daily and I washed my hair daily, I would look like the lead singer from Coheed and Cambria.
Whoever that is.
Yeah, it's just this fuzzy little hair thing going around everywhere. So I needed a little grease in it to do it, to pull it off. So optimal was like 2 to 3 days without washing my hair. And but then the problem was we would go to the bar, and at the time, this is in the early 2000s, you could smoke inside the bar in Washington. And so people would smoke inside the bar, and I would reek of stale hops and cigarette smoke. So I would Febreze my hair in order to keep the optimal look going, but then also not smell like the bar. Although I think it had a lot of the same effect that you're talking about with your friend. It just smelled like Febreze smoke. It wasn't. It smelled like smoke and Febreze. But I'll tell you this. Okay, I'm torn on this one. I still have not answered. I don't know which way to answer because I feel like they both reek. Alcohol, people that drink a lot of alcohol, you smell them like the next day, especially, and it's coming out of their pores. I mean, you can smell it coming out of their pores.
What does it smell like? Like a sweet, stale bar smell? Like when you walk into a bar,
it smells like alcohol.
Next morning?
It smells like alcohol.
Oh, okay.
It smells like alcohol.
See, that isn't a bad smell to me. I guess that smell doesn't bother me as much as skunk.
I know, and I don't know which way. And I got to be honest with you. Sometimes I enjoy the smell of marijuana smoke, even though I don't smoke. I still enjoy the smell of it.
Well, usually it's not the smell of smoke; it's the smell of raw weed in their pocket, like a Pro Weed Smoker carries with him. Because that's at least
I like
my
that
experience.
smell. I like
Everybody
that smell better than the smoke. I like the smell of fresh, like marijuana, and I think I know why. It's reminiscent of my youth. It reminds me of my youth because my dad always had it on hand. He had a little black box, and that little black box, when that black box came out, you could smell it 3 rooms away.
Yours was weed, skunky weed, and mine was this, what was it called? It was called Captain's Tobacco, and it was what my grandpa or my Uncle Jack would smoke in his pipe, and my dad would smoke the pipe too. They went through a pipe phase, all of them, and it was kind of this sweet vanilla tobacco smell, and that was a good smell.
I mean, I grew up thinking that all film canisters, remember film, like 35 millimeter film, all film canisters were made for weed. I didn't even know that's what the film came in.
That's pretty funny. We're getting more votes at KZOZ.com in the James McKiernan poll question, but it's still 50-50. Like, we just got 30% more vote. People voted. Now it's just made a swing. People who smoke too much pot with 54% of the vote in the lead in this duel.
This might be our closest poll question ever, and it would not surprise me if when it's all said and done at 2:00 this afternoon, it's a 50-50 knot.
An alcoholic or a pothead? Who stinks worse? KZOZ.com. Hey, look at this. Right here.
You got
My
it.
wife
You got
heard
it.
us talking about this morning. She went out to get herself a Bucks, and she picked me up the lime cucumber
It's so
limon.
good. Yes, it's so good.
Or I should say it's lime cucumber, or in Spanish it's pepinino limon.
Yes,
Anyways,
so
I'm going to
good.
try this.
So good.
Right? For the first time.
You're going to love
coming
it.
up.
You're going to love it.
All right.
93.3 KZOZ rocks. Jeff and Jeremy in the morning.
All right, Jeff and Jeremy here. It's KZOZ online at KZOZ.
We're just so amazed at the back and forth of this poll.
Yeah, we got to get an update in here of the James McKiernan poll question, KZOZ.com. The update now is we've had about 40% more people vote, and we're still back to 50-50.
Oh, no.
I
just hit refresh.
Right now. Okay.
Alcohol has got the slightly. People who drink too much alcohol are now 53%.
Pot smokers unite.
47.
Is the later we go in the show, the more pot smokers wake up, and that's going to swing.
The same can be said for alcohol too. People waking off the weekend. I mean, those people are
People
like,
who drink.
People
who drink get up and go to work.
I
early.
don't stink today.
I know they both do. The one nice thing about marijuana is you don't really get a hangover. At least I've never heard of that from marijuana. So maybe they're the early risers. All right, here we go. It's time to try this this beverage that Jeff says is the best
So
Gatorade that he could find.
Yeah.
The best Gatorade.
I will say green apple is a close second, and it's a coin flip every time I go to a place that has a proper Gatorade selection. And by the proper Gatorade selection, I mean, don't be coming at me with no just lemon lime, fruit punch, orange, and then a bunch of frost, ice, stuff like that. No, give me the green apple. Give me the cucumber limon. I don't know where that sits. I find that the 76 station on Broad has a appropriate Gatorade selection, as does its neighbor at the Conserved Fuel. But it's tough. It's tough to find a proper selection. Don't smell it before you drink it. Just drink it.
I did. I have to smell it. It smells like cucumber juice.
It does.
Cucumber
It does
piss.
smell like cucumber.
Oh, God, it smells like cucumber piss.
By the
I love
way,
cucumbers.
Zero fruit juice in these, by the way. I don't know how.
You know what I like on my cucumbers? Soy sauce. Maybe put some soy sauce in this. It'll be better.
I'm telling you,
All right, I'm gonna
cucumber
take a
and
drink.
lime, man. I'm going to start putting
Ready?
lime over my cucumbers.
You have to smell it. All right, here we go. My first lime cucumber.
So good, dude.
Gatorade.
805 Bear text lines if you've tried the cucumber lemon or limon lime cucumber lime Gatorade. It's so good.
I don't think I'll be buying this.
Let it sit for a second. It's good, dude. It is so refreshing, especially think about it on a hot day. Yeah, that's what I'm going.
Cucumber lime. Okay, here's my 2 cents. It's actually balanced out pretty good. It smells a lot like cucumber, but when you drink it, it's not overpowering.
You're not.
And it is pretty refreshing.
Two very strong, by the way, flavors: lime and cucumber.
Let me tell you my other two favorites. Okay, grape and fruit punch. Okay, so
then
this is not close.
This is not
those.
This is not on your profile. Then you got to have green apple.
I think with some tequila.
Yes,
some tequila and some
even some vodka,
crushed ice,
or even some vodka,
or gin. Probably gin, vodka, or tequila would be okay. You could play with that; it would be good. And then maybe some muddled jalapeno. All right, there it is.
Gatorade as a mixer is not a bad offer.
I'll go back to coffee now.
Oh, that's going to be a harsh.
Jeff and Jeremy.
Well, I hope Neil Young
this that guy you like? Leo, whatever?
Yeah, it's Leo. Leo with the guy with the last name I can't pronounce because he's Italian. Morcioliosia, I don't know. Classics, metal versions. Good morning, it's Jeff and Jeremy. 8:31 is the time. That's Leo. Find him on YouTube. He'll take any song and he'll make it metal. It's pretty good stuff there. Online, KZOZ.com. We got to keep updating the poll question. Potheads or alcoholics? Who stinks more? The votes are in, and so far the update is, oh, wow, look at this. I mean, a lot of people have just come in. 66% of people say potheads smoke too much. The alcoholics have spoken.
Wow.
And they are saying the potheads stink. Yes.
Gosh. This has been so back and forth, but it looks like now that the potheads are losing the momentum that they needed.
I mean, you just think about it. I mean, alcohol doesn't stink as much as, I mean, when I say stink, it isn't as, the smell isn't as strong.
I think it is. I still don't know which way to go. I still don't know which way to go on this.
You could open a beer and set it on the table, and you can put a bud on the table. What are you going to smell?
Okay, beer is not what I'm talking about when I say alcohol,
Okay, you could open a fifth of whiskey and set it on the table, and you could put a bud right next to it. You're still going to smell the bud, aren't you?
Yeah, you're going to smell the whiskey too, though. I mean, it's just as strong. It really is.
Last night, they roasted Tom Brady. It was on Netflix Live. If you missed it, for some reason, Kim Kardashian was there, and Tom Brady got up to roast her, I guess.
Kim Kardashian, thank you so much for being here. I know Kim was terrified to be here tonight, not because of this, but because her kids are home with their dad.
Oh, damn! Oh, damn!
Yeah, who's their dad? I don't even know who their dad is anymore. It was
Kanye.
It was Kanye? Yeah. Oh, okay. Oh, well, I guess, does she have a stepdaddy? I don't know. All right, Jeff and Jeremy here. So Peyton Manning was there last night roasting Tom Brady. And he might have been one of the funnier ones.
It is great to be here with a bunch of people sitting around talking smack about Tom Brady. Or as we call that in the Manning family, Thanksgiving. One thing that Tom and I definitely have in common, though, is our love of the game of golf. And listen, not to brag, we're both pretty good players. My handicap is a 6.4, while Tom's handicap is blowing leads to the Super Bowl to my brother Eli. The last time Tom Brady had to wait this long to get on stage, it was the 2000 NFL Draft.
Peyton, I know sometimes you live in Denver and sometimes you live in Louisiana, but you'll always live in my shadow. When I heard there was a slow white Bronco heading down the 405 to come here tonight, I thought we might actually see a real football legend.
Oh, he wrote that before he died, I bet.
Yeah, well, no, remember, I think it was taped before he died.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
it was taped before he died.
Which is a great, it was a great joke. Yeah, but like
when he was alive.
Yeah.
You know, somebody had to write these jokes for him. Mike from Santa Maria says he thinks Biden was writing Brady's jokes. Here's one he took at Belichick.
And now, for the real reason y'all here, Coach Bill Belichick. I've been out of the game for a minute, so I'm curious. How many Super Bowl rings have you won since I left? Maybe it's not just the guy on the sideline. When I go to the Indy 500, I don't ask the winning driver, hey, who gassed up your car?
Damn. Belichick had a spot at the mic, too.
Ron Burgundy, the only member of the media I respect. You know, the fellas invited me up here to lighten up the mood a little bit tonight. A lot of mean things being said about Tom tonight.
You know what's so weird is this is the most I've ever heard Belichick speak at one time.
Because he's not mad about a football game.
Yeah. I wonder why they invited me. Really, Tom, why are all these people so hard on you? Do you miss me? A lot of people connected me with a saying called do your job and telling people to do their job. And Gronk, I've been watching you on Fox NFL Sunday, and I'm begging you, please, stop doing your job. But believe it or not, I've got a lot of nice things to say about Tom, but I'm running out of time here. I see your soccer team, Birmingham City, got knocked down to another tier in the English Football League, so they suck. Not so easy running a team, is it, Tom?
Coming up, we'll get to the joke that pissed off Tom Brady last night. It was Jeff Ross doing Jeff Ross. Plus an update, Potheads or alcoholics, who stinks worse? KZOZ.com. Jeff and Jeremy here. The KZOZ big win-win. Haven't played the sounder yet. Haven't given away any tickets or got anybody qualified either. Hang on for that. So last night at the Tom Brady roast, comedian Jeff Ross was up there towards the end. He's a pretty funny guy, but he really doesn't know boundaries, I guess. Even though I don't think this was that bad, it was pretty funny. I don't know why it's not playing.
Laugh a minute.
It's frozen. Internet.
I told you you should have played it when you first brought it up. The timing would have been better at that point in time, but you just had to tease us like.
So Tom became a Patriot, moved up to New England, and on the first day of training camp, that scrawny rookie famously walked into the owner, Robert Kraft's office and said, "I'm the best decision your organization has ever made." Would you like a massage? I love Robert Kraft. I love
that again.
Okay. He's having fun. Look at him.
Don't say that S again. What do you? I don't understand. Did you think it was going to get worse?
I think that was apropos. You have the Robert Kraft massage reference needed to be in that roast. Otherwise, it was not a true roast. So, same with Nikki Glazer, and I'm sure you don't have because Nikki Glazer's not really a big name.
I don't have any Nikki Glazer sound in front of me.
She was the only one to rail Tom about. I'm paraphrasing here. I don't have the sound. I could go find the sound and get it, but I'm just going to paraphrase it because it was a very quick one-liner from Nikki Glazer. Nikki Glazer said, "How'd you lose $30 million on the FTX crypto deal? I mean, even Gronk knows, hey, man, that not real money." So it was more of a dig on Gronk than it was on
Gronk had no idea he was going to get lit up so bad. He's like, well, I don't care. I'm just having a beer. What would Gronk have done if he didn't play football? Oh, my gosh. All right, update on alcoholics.
Just live in a pool house somewhere in Tucson.
This is the James McKiernan poll question. James McKiernan, auto accidents, injuries, give him a call, 800-200-HURTS.
Chances are you could run into a problem like that if you're doing either of these in driving.
So 64% of people are now saying that people who smoke too much pot stink worse than people that drink alcohol or alcoholics or whatever you want to say. And Paul writes in, he's like, well, I think stinky was a reference to alcohol having more negative problems than pot. What about violence and drunk driving?
Okay,
We're just talking about how people smell. We're not talking about like how people act. Yes,
and if you want to go down this road, I don't think it's safe to get high and drive either. I mean,
don't think drink, drive.
It's harder to get caught. It's harder to get caught, and then that's what the problem is. But you're in an altered state when you're smoking.
But I've never been to a bar. Of course, there's no bars I've been to where people just get high either. Like, could you imagine if you just went to a bar where all they did was smoke pot or eat edibles? Would you ever see a fight? Like, you see fights at bars when people drink too much, and I would agree with you there, Paul. I would say, yeah, I don't think weed makes you fight like alcohol get people drunk and then they fight. But
I don't know. I've seen cops, and I've seen this come up on cops. Like, people will be smoking a lot of weed, and there'll be some domestic disturbance, domestic violence call.
And there's a Bud Ice bottle on the counter.
That's true. That's usually the mix of both. That's true.
The old Bud Ice. Yeah. Anyways, KZSE.com if you want to vote in the James McKiernan poll question. Back and forth so far this morning, but alcoholics are speaking, and they're saying, or people that drink alcohol are speaking, and they're saying potheads, they stink more.
And this all stemmed from a question last week when we were asking what dynamic you would eliminate from the concert, and Kyle wrote in on the 805 beer text lines, and he's like, I'd much rather be next to pot smells good and alcoholics stink and they're gross. Okay, how about this though? Who's more likely to puke?
Oh, you can go both ways on that. I remember one time.
Come on, are you serious?
No. Okay, so this is what happened. I was at a party. We were drinking. We had some wine, and then I had a cocktail, and then I had a brownie later that night. I had a lot. I had been drinking quite a bit. I was going to bed. There was this plate of brownies on the kitchen counter.
Okay, here's the thing. Here's the thing.
And I didn't know what they were, and I ate one, and I was sick all night.
If you would not have thrown up had there not been alcohol involved, though.
I don't know because, man, you got to be careful. Those edibles, they'll mess you up and make you feel nauseous.
By your own admission, you don't know. So,
because I've been drinking alcohol, I've never done. I'm not going to go back and eat one of those brownies again, though, because that was a bad idea.
It's highly likely that there would not have been a severe reaction had you not been drinking alcohol to the THC in the brownie.
If we could just take a moment and refer to our friend Pothead Rick, who, in the name alone, probably knows enough about this.
Yes.
He says, there's no doubt that alcohol vapor is not going to travel as far as marijuana smell. But we get complimented on our cologne often. It's good weed that smells great. You got to have the good stuff.
I used to drive a Volkswagen van, and when I drove a Volkswagen van, like every other person that was driving a Volkswagen van would like wave at me and all that stuff. I think there's that kind of sense of community amongst people who smoke marijuana versus like people that are drinking alcohol. They're not like, hey, how's it going? Somebody else is drinking alcohol. So I do feel like maybe who said that about the
that was Pothead Rick.
No, who said that about marijuana being more chill than alcohol? Like people don't get in fights and all that stuff. And drinking.
Oh,
and
that
driving.
was Paul. That was Paul.
Paul. I think there is something to what Paul says because there is a sense of community amongst weed smokers. Now, this is not the question. Okay, I'm not saying this to sway the question at all. But there's not a sense of community against people that are drinking. It's just people that are drinking or people that are drinking. Unless you're drinking wine, then there's some weird kind of sense of community and cheese and dried meats. But the marijuana is like everybody. I feel like people that smoke marijuana are more about having a good time, but a relaxed good time. There's no woo kind of thing going on. There's a lot of
you never with alcohol. I don't think you've ever had Buddy Boy's Blue Dream.
I have not.
A woo. That's a woo-hoo.
I have not.
Woo! Rat Pack Can Dance says, don't drink the bong water. And then you won't get sick. Well, that means that somebody might have drank the bong water.
There is something that has to do with this testosterone theory. Is a headline that just came out over the weekend about it has to do with loud cars and what it says about you if you drive a loud car or if you have the desire to drive a loud car.
Well, if you have the desire to drive a loud car, you have money. And if you don't have the desire to drive a loud car and it's loud, that means you're poor. And
that's not true. That's not true at all. You can drive a car that is loud. Like, have you ever seen that 2006 Honda Civic that's way louder than it needs to be?
That's a desired loud car because they made it loud. It doesn't come off the floor that way.
Right.
I'm saying if it's an old beater and it's loud, it's probably because there's no exhaust.
Oh, okay. No. I'm talking about an actual one that you've modified to make into a loud car. What it says about you if you drive one of these. And how come I never see women driving any of these things? It's always dudes. We'll get to that coming up. So apparently, if you like loud cars, you are a psychopath. That is according to a new study that was done by the University of Western Ontario. Researchers found, they took 529 participants and found that men were more likely to say they wanted a loud car. There you go. I could have told you that without throwing any money at that study. Like, I've never seen a woman be like, yeah, I drive a loud car. Like, have you ever seen a woman?
No, I've never seen that.
But they found out a little bit more about these guys. Okay. If they're willing to modify their vehicle to make it louder, they tend to have darker personality traits that are linked to psychosis. Basically saying that if dudes like louder cars, they're psychopaths.
I know people that have, like, okay, what about a Dodge truck? Dodge trucks are the loudest of all the trucks.
Very throaty.
And they sound throaty. And it sounds cool and everything. But sometimes it's got to be a pain in the ass because you want to be quiet, right? And you just fire up the... Are they psychopaths? Or are we talking about the guys that drive muscle cars? Or are we talking about the guys that make Subarus sound like...
Okay, so guys that make Subarus, muscle cars are probably like the high-end psychopaths that you want to stay away from according to this study. I'm just reciting the study, okay? I'm not calling names, okay? Now, if you pick the Dodge Ram over like more practical, like, Chevy or Ford or something like that, that doesn't sound like, you're going through a gallon of gas when you get on that accelerator. Like it takes a gallon to, like all of a sudden you're just like, okay, that guy's driving a Dodge. Then that's a level that's below guy that takes his Subaru and gives it the loud noise. And then, everybody else is just normal. So you're borderline psychopath. You're not quite psychopath.
It's coming from a guy who drives a soccer mom mobile in the minivan. I feel like you've got a grin on your face, an S-eating grin. Like you're like, yeah.
I stereotype the worst drivers on the road, and every single one of these psychopaths
big
is
trucks, lifted trucks, loud trucks. You have a thing for people that drive trucks, and I don't know why.
It's mainly Dodge Rams. It's mainly Dodge Rams. Honest to God.
My thing is, I was behind a guy on Saturday.
I want to say it. Ford F-150
diesel truck.
Ford F-150 drivers are the slowest of the truck drivers. They just mind their business. It's like usually a guy that's above 55 with his hat on, some kind of American hat on, and he's driving and he's just minding the speed limit. And those are the guys I enjoy because I do the same thing, but I drive a Honda minivan.
But the diesel trucks that when they step on the gas, this black cloud makes it to the point where you can barely see. Like, that doesn't seem like, Rich, 2024, we should be able to, if I have to take my unleaded pickup truck in to get smog test,
yes.
How the hell does this guy pass a smog test? I mean, this thing is just blacker than black and literally could cause an accident if you're driving right in front of him and he steps on it, because you may not see somebody if they slam on their brakes.
The author of this,
I don't know how that guy passes a smog test.
The author of this study says that you can see the psychopathy behaviors coming out of these guys, and it's all guys, of these guys when they get on the gas, the throttle, the accelerator, with the intention of startling those around them. They get a kick out of watching other people get startled. Yeah. I mean, it seems like a pretty obvious study to me, actually.
That is a psychopath tendency for sure. Right. If you like to just on purposely scare the piss out of people, like they wet their pants a little, then that might be funny one time. But if you like to do it all the time, then you might have an issue.
It's tantamount to me just driving around my minivan and then sticking an air horn out the window and then waiting for people not to be paying attention and then just squirting the air horn. Or pushing the button. I guess you don't squirt an air horn. You push the button down.